KarenBrook, thank you very, very much for your time this morning. I'm very excited to talk to you. I had a really good look at your bio and also what other people are saying about you. Certainly very, very impressive. And you're working in the entrepreneurial space currently. You're a results mentor. But I guess today what I'd like to do is put you a little bit on the other side, because you're constantly working with individuals, mentoring them, motivating them, and so forth. But I want to go a little bit deeper into your inner self and find out what it is that make you tick, and also learn from your journey. So maybe before we start with the business side of things, can you tell me a little bit more about KarenBrook?
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here and to help you with this amazing program that you're developing. So who is KarenBrook, I guess? I actually grew up in far western Queensland in a very small town named Birdsville of about 100 people on the edge of the Simpson Desert. So I grew up in the Outback, one of 6 kids. My mother is South African. My father is through and through Australian. And I guess I always had that entrepreneurial spirit from a very young age. I went to boarding school in Adelaide for 5 years and actually wanted to study medicine, of all things. So the total opposite end of the spectrum, and I didn't get into that. And I eventually found myself studying graphic design and advertising at university. And I started a branding and design business in my early 20s. So it's definitely been a progression of growth cycles, life cycles. One of the things that I am really passionate about outside of business is actually aviation. So I'm a pilot and I grew up around planes. I love planes. I'm writing a book about what we can learn from flying and becoming a pilot and how those same processes apply to business and growth in life. So I love flying and I love travel. I love people. I love being in business. I truly think it's one of the most rewarding, extraordinary things that you can do in taking your gifts and talents and being able to share that with other people. So
okay. Look, tell me then, next step further, tell me a little bit about your business.
So my business today, I work with individuals and teams around habits, productivity and profit. So behind that is really helping people to understand at a very deep level actually how their mind produces the results in their life. So how your mind operates, where behaviour comes from and how that produces the results that we get in life or that we don't get in life. I facilitate a 6-month program here in Australia called Thinking into Results. Okay. That is used by individuals. I work with teams and with people all over Australia in that environment.
So do you also work, across rural, metropolitan, across the whole of Australia?
I actually do. Given my background, I naturally attract people living in more regional areas. Yeah. But with the growth and the development of the business and also with the material, I am very much so attracting a lot of clients in metropolitan areas. So I've got clients in Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, Cairns, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, pretty much all over now. So I think that's just a natural progression of, awareness, and you're out there and people are seeing you. And so now I've even got clients in Papua New Guinea, all over the place now.
So apart from Papua New Guinea, you're also working more globally at the moment, or is that something that you want to move into in the future?
So the company that I partner with, the Proctor Gallagher Institute, they're based in North America, in Canada. Okay. I actually travel to and from, I'm actually back there tomorrow. So I travel regularly internationally with that. And being one of the top global consultants leading this program it would be a natural progression that I will slowly but surely attract more and more international or global clients into this work, into this program.
So what stage of development or growth are you at the moment? Like, how long have you been in business, and, you know, kind of what point are you at the moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess if I look back in my total business career, I've been self-employed for 14 years now. But if I look at this particular business model, like any business, I have had to keep growing just for my own personal stimulation. Yeah. But if I look at the business model now, where all I do is teach and facilitate thinking into results,
yes,
coming up to 2 years.
Okay.
Very much in the growth cycle. So I sort of, I described it a little bit like the first year I was trying to work out what I was doing. The second year was my apprenticeship. And now we're like really making it happen. So we've undergone periodically over that 2 years significant quantum leaps. And I've just come out of another 3-month period where we've just gone to a much, much higher level of productivity, enrollments, and I'm expecting that in another 3 months we'll go through another huge growth cycle. So, and then there will come a point that I'm aiming for and to plateau there. So we're having peaks. We get to that point, we drop back a little bit, we get there. So we are in that consistent growth phase at the moment. And very soon I will see that we'll get to the level that I would like it to be at. We'll plateau there, we'll consolidate, and then we'll go again.
That's fantastic, because I think, you know, it's a great backdrop for some of my questions today as well, because you have experienced those initial startup and the growing pains, but you're also now experiencing the growth. So that will bring a very unique perspective to our conversation today. So tell me a little bit about the structure of your business. Are you solo, partnership, incorporated, or what's the structure?
So I'm a company, so proprietary limited, GST registered. So I'm the sole company director and owner of the company. And then I have a team. So I guess I would consider, if you're interested in that side of it, 2 key areas to the business, which I think really essentially are only 2 areas to any business: sales and sales support. Nothing can happen until someone sells something.
Yeah.
So I have the sales, the business development side of the business, which involves a number of different methodologies, which we can talk about later. Yeah. Then I have the sales support, which is all the program, the facilitation, the admin, and then the different levels of support that we have within that structure.
Okay, fantastic. I'll come back to that side when we talk about strategies and so forth. But before I go into the strategies of that you use for your own business, and also recommend for other women entrepreneurs, I'm interested to know a little bit more about you and how you see yourself as an entrepreneurial female working in the entrepreneurial space. Do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur? Because a lot of women that I talk to, and even that I've interviewed so far, they don't necessarily see themselves as an entrepreneur, and in some kind of more so. So I want to find out a bit more about your identity in this space, please.
I definitely consider myself an entrepreneur. I always have.
Yeah.
I've always worked for myself in my own businesses, so I've never been in a position where someone else has paid my wage. Yeah. I think I'm too far gone now for that. So I have always considered myself an entrepreneur. And I really, when I think about entrepreneurship, it's that innovative thinking. It's always pushing the boundaries. It's personal growth, trying to be better than you were yesterday. Mm. And so, for me, I most certainly consider myself an entrepreneur. And I really, truly believe that anyone and everyone can be it. It's really a mindset. It's a way you think about. You can be employed full-time in a job that you love, but there's still other things that you want to do, whether it's writing books, creating programs, selling a product, and that makes you an entrepreneur.
So what does success mean to you?
I love this question. So to me, actually, I'll tell you where this originates. I've studied a lot of different work, but one person that I've studied a lot of is Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale. Nightingale is one of the founding fathers of the personal development industry in America. And to me, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That's what I really believe success to be. So the moment that you are moving towards something that you want, you're successful. And I really believe that success is a daily pursuit. It's having that mindset that I'm moving in a direction that I want to go. I'm growing, and every day, if I'm co-creating my day towards that specific outcome, then I am a success. That's the way I think about success. In my imagination, I already see my goal manifested. It's done. It's just now a progressive realization of that goal.
That's a fantastic way to look at things, and I think we can apply that in every aspect of our lives, really. Your favourite aspect of being an entrepreneur, what would that be?
It would honestly have to be that every day, my favourite aspect of being an entrepreneur, that I get to decide. I get to decide how life is going to be. I get to decide the sort of clients I want to work with, how I want to run my day, how I want to live, how much money I want to earn. Like that's my favourite thing about being in business, being an entrepreneur, and knowing that if there's any idea that I see or any opportunity, that I've got that, you just can do it. And I think, like, for me, being an entrepreneur is truly creating your own economy. It really is. It's being totally in control of your circumstances, of your finances, of your lifestyle, of the people that you surround yourself with. It's true freedom and independence.
So that's a wonderful way to look at it. There must be another side to it as well. What's your least favourite aspect of it?
My least favourite aspect of being an entrepreneur. Probably admin.
Yeah.
If I'm really honest, because I'm a very innovative thinker, like I'm not a attention to detail person. So it's about recognizing where my strengths are, and I'm not interested in developing my weaknesses, really.
Yeah.
If I have a desire, I will, and then I hire people, because that means, for me, creating that space in the business for somebody else to do the things I don't like to do, that may very well be satisfying their goal. It's what they really want. So you've got this collective energy that you're creating the business around by letting go of the things that you don't like to do. And that's what I've done in my business and continue to do. Every time I get to a point with my self-image, with the business growth, and I go, I can't do that anymore, I employ someone that would love to do that.
Okay.
So my least favourite aspect is probably the attention to detail tasks.
Yeah.
And I've slowly but surely I hire people now to do those things.
So in the beginning, did you have to do all of those tasks yourselves?
Yes, I did, but I did also hire a personal assistant before I needed one.
Okay.
So I knew where I wanted to go. I knew the goal and what the picture that I was holding. And when I saw it done, I knew that I wouldn't be working by myself. Yeah. So I did hire, in this business model, my personal assistant, program assistant, well before I needed her, when I probably only had maybe 8 clients.
Okay.
I put her on for a few hours a week. So, and, yeah.
Take it from there.
Yeah.
You must have had some moments in your journey as well that were quite, that you found quite difficult, and maybe some obstacles that you came across. How did you deal with that, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
When I was thinking about this, I thought there's probably 2 sides to it. And actually, it all relates back to me. And overcoming my own paradigms, habits, limiting beliefs. I'm going to go back to a point in my business career where I was probably at a bit of a crossroads. So I'd been running my branding and marketing company for 8 or 9 years and had achieved a lot of success in that.
Yeah.
And had plateaued in my growth. And I got to the point where it was always at that point, it was like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And then I found myself back in 2012, 2013, really at a bit of a crossroads. I didn't really know whether I wanted to continue growing that business. I felt like I had outgrown myself in that. Everything that I'd sort of set for myself, I couldn't see another clearly defined goal for it. Yeah. And I did become quite lost for a period of time. And then I sort of started to get back into it and try and connect with, you know, what I really wanted and how I wanted to live. And then I still became frustrated because I'm a smart girl. I knew a lot. I'd done a lot of study, but I wasn't at the level that I would have thought I would have been at. I was still trapped in a little bit of a cycle around lifestyle and income and the sort of clients, and I couldn't quite I couldn't work out what was missing in that period of time. And it was really how I got myself out of it was, honestly, it was study. I just started to study again. I started to read. I started to develop myself, and I'm such a huge advocate for that now, because so many people are anxious to improve their circumstances but are unwilling to improve themselves. Yeah. And if we want better outcomes in our life, if we want to earn more money, if we want to create more value, more influence and impact, then we've got to become the person who is that. And so how I got myself out of it was I really started to form the habit of studying on a daily basis. You know, I was the sort of girl that thought, well, you go to university to study. You wouldn't form the habit of studying on a daily basis just for your own personal growth so you can achieve your goals. Yeah. And that really led me to understanding, you know, really looking at the mind and paradigms and the subconscious and where results are formed. And it was through that process that then that led me to the work that I'm doing today.
Okay, so I guess this link really well with the aspect of skills as well. What would be maybe 2 or 3 skills that you have used very effectively in your own journey so far?
Skills. I'm gonna say number 1 will definitely be study on a daily basis. As a habit, is something that I do now. So every single day I spend anywhere from 30 minutes to 60 minutes studying in the morning. So, and that's in a set sort of process. I would say being able to use your imagination on a daily basis. Now that may seem a little, you know, left of field, but I think it's so important. We've got to recognise that we have the ability to create a better image. Yeah. You know, when I think about business and I think about clients, everyone's like, well, how do we I need to write a business plan or a marketing plan. And I'm like, well, what's the picture? Yeah. And there's no picture. I said, go and first. So I think that's a really important part of any business cycle, is you've got to be able to see what you want clearly first in your imagination. And like any muscle, like anything, like that's one of our mental faculties that we've got to develop it. If we're not in the habit of using it, then it's not going to be there when we need it. Similarly, that ability to think, so consciously create new thinking processes. I think that's a skill. Very few people really have that well-developed understanding that we can create our own thinking patterns, that we don't have to just go with the status quo of what's going on around us. So I think that's a really important skill. And then the other couple that I would say would definitely be discipline. To be successful in business, to be successful in any endeavours in life, we've got to form the habit of discipline, being able to give yourself a command and follow through regardless of whether we want to do it or not. There's plenty of things that I don't want to do, but I do them because I know that it's going to help me achieve the goal. And I know that the more I do them, the easier it will get. And I'd say the last thing is persistence. That, you know, when we're setting goals and we're going after things that we've never done before, we don't know how long it's going to take. this is kind of a seed that we're planting that we personally may not have done before, which is good because that means we're growing.
Yeah.
But we've got to be persistent in our efforts. It might happen for you in 2 months or 3 months, or it might take 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like that real persistent, focused, disciplined attention towards that worthy thing that we're moving towards.
Karen, you obviously have a great emphasis on learning, self-study, etc. So is there one particular person or, that you really admire, and that's kind of you looked up to in your journey? Another one side of it, of self-study as well, is there a favorite book that you can think of that really meant a lot to you in your journey?
Absolutely. Well, my favourite book is actually called U Squared, and it's a very small little book. It's actually written by a man named Pritchett, and it's a high-velocity formula for multiplying your personal effectiveness in quantum leaps. And what I love about this book is it really gets you to elevate your thinking and understand quantum physics and the quantum laws and energy and vibration, and in such a simple way to use yourself and your environment differently to produce outcomes that at the moment might be beyond your current conscious level of awareness. So that's one of my favourite books. I've got a few of them lying around the house, one in my handbag, one next to my bed. And I often just pick it up and read that. And then the person that I would say that really joined so many, I must preface this with I've had an enormous amount of people come in and out of my life over my business career, all who have played significant roles for me at the point of the journey that I was in. So I am very grateful for all of those people, including my family and my parents. But I will say that probably the person that has connected all of the dots for me and really pushed me to go to a new level is a man named Bob Proctor. And he's 82. He lives in Canada, in Toronto. And he has been studying the science of success, the natural laws of the universe for 55, 60 years. And I really look up to him. If Bob tells me to do something, I do it. I might not understand it. I might not believe what he's telling me because of my own level of awareness. But he has helped me to really bring who I am to the surface in a very impactful, influential way for greater good. And that's his mentality, and I'm very grateful for that.
So it sounds to me like mentors in your life, you had some mentors in your life that meant a lot to you on your journey. Have you sought out mentors consciously, or were they more kind of informal mentors in your life?
Both, I would say, depending on where I was at. I think now I will never be without one. But I think if I reflect on my career up until this date, it was both. There were times where I thought I really need a mentor. I need someone to help me look forward here. And then you kind of think you've got it. Like, no, I don't need anyone. I'm fine. And then, they kind of just happen, and that's informal support. But now that I understand really about goals being for growth and about being a picture that you're holding in your mind, and that we always want to be growing, I think it's important to always have a mentor, someone there, whether that's in a formal relationship or informal, but we really do. The truth of the matter is that we do need other people to hold us at our learning edge, who can sometimes see more in us than we are able to see in ourselves. And if it wasn't for people in my career who always saw something more in me than maybe that I could see at that time, I wouldn't have, been pushed as much as I have, so far in my career. So I think mentors are so important, so important. I have a mentor, and And I think everyone should have some sort of mentor in their life to help them go beyond what they can currently see for themselves. On collaboration, look, I think that there's a piece in the book, if anyone's read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and he talks about masterminding and looking at mastermind as an organised system for specialised knowledge, and that we can, if we have a goal or there's something that we want, but there is a part of that we see as necessary, but we don't have the desire to gain that specialised knowledge ourselves, we can close the gap through the power of a mastermind. Now, if I relate that to collaboration, I think that's where collaboration has huge potential and huge opportunities. So, whether that's collaborating internally within a company structure, whether that's collaborating externally, that understanding that there's things that I am so good at, better than anybody else, but there's also other things that that's not my gift, nor do I have the desire to develop that. So I can close that gap through collaborating with other people who have those skills and talents, or who have that knowledge, who then can create huge value for my clients or the people that I serve.
I want to talk a little bit about strategies. And on the topic of strategies, and you've had a number of years now that you've been in the whole area of entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur yourself. Do you think there is some formula or a recipe or even just a few, guidelines that you think is absolutely has served you really well in your particular journey?
I actually think that there is. For so long, I probably was looking for one and didn't think it existed, but now I actually understand that it does. If we understand the laws that govern our being and the laws of the mind, that if we start to work in harmony with that, then we can start to control and dictate some outcomes. So the first part of that, I would say, is definitely getting clear around what it is that you really want as a picture, because we think in pictures and our energy, our behaviour is going to be dictated by the picture impressed upon the subconscious. So knowing what we really want, so often I'll talk to people and I'll ask them about their goals, or what does that look like as a picture, or how much is that as a specific amount of money, and there's no information there. They kind of know what they want, but there hasn't been enough thought put into it. And yet we're, trying to jump forward into business planning or this or that. So I think that's a really important part of that success puzzle, in really that side of it. Then I would say, just that everyday reorientating and refocusing. I realise we sort of fail our way to the goal. We know that that's just like the GPS in a plane takes you from A to B, and we have to course correct as we go, which is why it's so important to know, what that end destination looks like, and then get going on a daily basis. Start right where you're at with what you've got. You will work out the game plan as you go. The next few steps will be revealed. But nothing can kind of occur until we get going. And then as you get going, you become aware of how to do things. You're going to start to meet people. And I always tell the story, Retha, of, when I was single and looking for love, and I made a written description of the sort of person I was looking for. Yeah. And my girlfriends would laugh at me because they thought it was silly. But I said, how are you ever going to know, when they're in front of you? And that's the same in business as it is in life. If you don't know what it is that you really want as a picture, when you get going, you're not going to be able to make that decision to know that that's the right opportunity, or that person's got that piece of information. So, that sort of recipe for success is, knowing with crystal clear detail the end destination, being able to focus and hold that picture to the exclusion of all others, to the exclusion of all outside distractions. Understand that for a period of time, you may be the only person that can see that picture. Your partner doesn't see it, your family doesn't see it. In a lot of cases, your team won't see it either. But it's your job as the leader, as the person who's bringing that vision into form, to be able to hold that vintage and then pursue it on a daily basis, and, you know, really form the discipline, the habits, to bring it all into form, but really working with the power that you have within. And that's where that study and the learning piece comes into it. The more you the more you understand yourself, the more effective you're going to be at understanding other people, leading other people, you know, being able to really transform that image into reality.
So I guess your business is in a growth phase at the moment. In order to get to this space where you are, you need to have credibility in what you do. How did you go about building that credibility?
I became a product of the material that I teach.
Okay.
So I actually study the program that I facilitate every single day as well, and have done now for more than 2 years. So one of the parts of thinking into results is repetition. So the repetition of the lesson over and over and over again. And so I have been very open from the beginning around the fact that I actually study what I teach, and I apply what I teach, and I will never ask clients to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself, as far as lived experiences and that side of things. And then I think the other side of it, so that's just that real robust, you know, I'm in this too sort of mindset. And then the other part of it, I think, is really just being my authentic self. And I know that word is turned around, is used often, but in really understanding who I am and understanding myself, and as a person on multiple levels, you know, as a spiritual person, as someone with an intellect, that I live in a physical body, and being able to then demonstrate that authentic, you know, when I'm talking to someone, they're going to pick up an energy from me. And, you know, if I'm saying one thing and my vibration, my energy is different, that other person won't understand that, but they will certainly pick up that something's not quite right.
Yeah.
So being very, I think, you know, I've developed that level of credibility over a period of time now. You know, it hasn't just been in the last 2 years. I've certainly been building my profile and credibility now for over a decade. But, you know, the fact that I'm calm, organised, in control of my thoughts, if I say something, you know, you're going to feel that that is truth, because what I'm saying and the energy that you're getting from me is equal.
Look, and I can feel that on this side, even though I'm in a virtual space at the moment. You know, part of also creating that credibility obviously is also the act of promoting, you know, yourself and your business and marketing and so forth. What kind of strategies have worked really well for you, and have you got any other maybe advice for other women out there?
I think self-promotion and marketing, it's obviously really important, because if you've got something of value for other people, unless you let people know, then it's no good you just sitting on that. So I always say that you do have a bit of a duty of care to other people, that if you know that you've got something of value, something that could make a difference, to be sharing that. So in my business model, we have a number of different ways in which that is done. So we know that to start a relationship with someone, there's 2 key areas that you have to cover, and one is trust and one is value. If you look at a business or a sales process, the root of all objections will come from either one of those areas. I don't trust you enough, or I don't see how this is relevant to me. So with our promotional strategies and what we do, there's a number of different ways. So social media does play a role in that process. But ultimately, the purpose of social media is to actually get them off social media and into a personal relationship. So whether that's a one-on-one session, into a webinar, coming to an event where then they get to meet me more in a personal way and build that relationship. So we kind of have that online inbound marketing strategy through social media. I also do a lot of events and speaking. Now it's more so my own events, in the sense that we actually develop them, we host them, we market them, as opposed to me going into other other companies or other events. So, but that is still also something that we do. So we basically have our own suite of webinars, public events, face-to-face. And then obviously speaking, if there is a natural fit. So yesterday I did a webinar for a big network in Australia. A few weeks ago I spoke at a big conference at the Gold Coast for a business. So there are ways then where I will go and speak, and I have basically 2 to 3 kind of themes that I'll talk on. At the heart of all of those, there is some mutual key points that are relevant in all of them. So I have sort of a few different talks that I do in that respect. So basically it's a mix of face-to-face and online. So using the online to draw people in, start a conversation, and then ultimately get them off into some sort of personal relationship. Personal contact is still the key to success. No matter which way you go about it, whether you're developing that as an online strategy where you're not directly involved, you still have to build that personal contact and you still have to address value and trust. So if you're doing that through social media or doing it through, marketing channels, and then obviously if you're in a one-to-one, you've also got to have that personal contact and looking at value and trust and relevance for the person that you're working with.
So do you have 1 or 2 favorite tools, online tools that you use for that purpose?
Yeah, so I have a customer relationship management system. So I use Infusionsoft.
Okay.
It is very robust. It's very powerful. It's also probably the upper end of the investment, and if someone's watching this and they're really at that startup phase, I don't think that you need to go straight to Infusionsoft. The other thing that I use a lot of is lead pages. Now that's what we call like a landing page, or it's a direct piece of communication where you'll direct a person to what's called a lead magnet. So something where they can opt in, you can start a conversation. So, and that integrates with Infusionsoft then to start that sort of relationship. Then we can come in through that sequence and then start the personal contact with a phone call or inviting them to an event or webinar. So I think it's very, very important that you have some sort of database or where you can collect your community, start building your community and segmenting that. And I love lead pages because it's very simple to use. It allows you to create great little marketing communication tools. And for all of my events, I use Eventbrite. So if we're doing any sort of event, use Eventbrite. And then, if it's a webinar, there's a great little thing called Zapier, which basically can connect it all together for you. So if you want your events to then go to a webinar registration to turn into an invoice, that's a little tool that just from a productivity point of view can streamline your internal processes.
Okay, fantastic. All kind of tools that we can't move forward in any of our journeys, really, if we're in the online space. That's no doubt about that. I guess my 3 last questions or final questions would be, the first one would be, what kind of overall biggest lesson have you learned? And, that you want to kind of pass on to other women in, being aware of that.
My overall biggest lesson. That any idea or thought you get emotionally involved with, you will create more of. So the idea that your thoughts become your reality, and we all hear about that, but what does that really mean? It's actually the ideas, the thinking habits that you really get emotionally involved with, you're going to continue to perpetuate in your life. So if you're telling yourself a story that it's hard and it's a struggle, but really you want it to be easy and you want your business to succeed, then stop telling yourself the story that it's hard and it's a struggle and no one's buying anything because you get emotionally involved with that. And actually what you don't realize you're doing is you're strengthening that as an outcome. Even though you don't want it, but the way the mind and the body works in producing results, you actually are strengthening it. So that's probably the biggest lesson that I've really learned and come to understand, is that my thoughts are so extremely powerful, more powerful than anything else. And if I don't on a daily basis keep them in check and moving toward and direct them towards what I want, then I'm not going to get the results that I'm looking for on a day-to-day basis. And it is a daily pursuit. Anything that you're doing in your business is a daily pursuit. So, you know, just recognizing that and making it a daily habit, you know, getting your business, growing it to where you want it to be. It is a constant daily progression of making sure that your thoughts, feelings, and actions are all moving you in the direction that you want on a daily basis, not just making a few phone calls once a week. You know, daily habit, building a successful business.
Everything you do has to do with having impact on others. You're obviously having a huge impact on your clients and those that you have dealings with. You know, just your enthusiasm, your passion just comes through. What would be maybe when you think about something quite amazing that you want to create in the future to have even more impact? Is there something like that? Like to create?
Well, I want to keep multiplying what I'm doing at the moment to impact more people. So naturally that comes with really building an internal team. So I would love to have more people in my team, you know, being able to talk about, you know, talk constructively about this and obviously help more people all around Australia and the world. One thing that I do, and I was just journaling about this morning, I was playing around. So in the U Squared book, one of the things is about multiplying and that you could be doing 10 times better. And so I was playing around with the idea of doing $12 million a year in sales. So a revenue of 12, so basically $1 million a month, and what that would look like as a picture. And in that picture I had there of having a philanthropic arm where we're able to fund and invest in youth, rural youth, disadvantaged, in funding them into studying this material to have that foundation of how the mind produces results. And, you know, and I can see a very big philanthropic arm there around making and just really making this information available on a very large scale. So I was actually just playing around with that idea this morning when I was fantasizing about big goals.
I absolutely love it. My final question to you, where can we find you online, or if any of our program participants want to connect with you, want to know more about your business, just want to socially connect with you, where can we connect with you?
Absolutely. I would really love that and welcome it. So on Facebook, I have a page. So it's facebook.com/I am KarenBrook. Look up KarenBrook on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. And obviously just through my website, KarenBrook.com.au. So I'm across all social media platforms. And my email address and phone number is freely available across those platforms. And I welcome anyone to get in touch and start a conversation that matters.
Karen, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate your time, especially I know you're very busy. You're on your way again overseas. But I guess you've certainly going to touch a lot of people's mind out there that just listen to you, not only in terms of your advice, but really in terms of your passion as that comes through. I really hope we can connect again in relation to the WIRE program as we move forward, because I think, you know, there's just so much you can offer to rural, regional, remote women out there that's actually struggling with some of the things that you talked about today. So thank you very, very much. And definitely we'll catch up with you again.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be involved. It's great to see these initiatives taking off. And if I can support in any way, I'll be more than happy to do that.